secret. She wasn't just an ordinary girl from the village. She was actually from the deep magical forest beyond Ibadan. In the forest, Amina lived with her family, who were not human. They were half human and half serpent and had the ability to take different forms. Only Amina could take the human form completely. Once upon a time, in a remote village in the town of Ibadan, which was also called Ibadan, there were many creatures and humans living together. In this village lived a girl named Amina. She was very beautiful, with a calm and gentle nature. The people of Ibadan admired her beauty and kindness. The men of the village would often try to win her heart, saying, "Amina, you are so lovely. Will you marry me?" But Amina wasn't interested. She always smiled and said, "Thank you, but I'm not ready." Every day, Amina would go to the market to sell her goods. She had the best fruits and vegetables, and everyone loved to buy from her. But no one knew where Amina lived. She always came to the market early and left before dusk, keeping her home a secret. The villagers would whisper, "Where does Amina go? Where does she live?" But Amina kept it a mystery. She was happy to be kind and helpful but didn't share much about herself. And so, Amina lived quietly in Ibadan, admired by everyone but keeping her life private. The villagers continued to wonder about the beautiful girl who came and went like a gentle breeze. One sunny day, a handsome man named Tund came to the market in Ibadan. He was looking for fresh fruits and vegetables, and when he saw Amina, he thought, "She is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." Tund couldn't take his eyes off her. He walked over and said, "Hello, my name is Tund. What's yours?" Amina smiled softly and replied, "I'm Amina. How can I help you today?" Tund was so happy to talk to her. He bought some fruits and stayed to chat. They talked about the weather, the village, and the market. Tund was enchanted by Amina's gentle voice and kind smile. He started coming to the market every day just to see her. They became friends, and Tund felt like he was falling in love. One evening, as the market was closing, Tund noticed it was getting late. He saw Amina packing up her things and offered, "Let me walk you home. It's not safe to go alone in the dark." Amina hesitated, but Tund insisted. She agreed and they began walking. As they walked, the sky grew darker and the air became chilly. Suddenly, Tund felt something strange. A cold hand touched his back. He turned around, but no one was there. His heart raced and he felt scared. He looked at Amina, who seemed calm, walking ahead. Tund couldn't shake the fear. He stopped and said, "Amina, I think I should go back. It's getting too dark." Amina turned to him and gently said, "It's okay, Tund. You can go back if you're scared." She smiled softly. With fear in his eyes, Tund nodded and hurried back to the village. He ran and ran until he reached his home. From that day, Tund never returned to the market to see Amina again. He was too scared of the mysterious cold hand and the dark night. Amina missed him but continued her peaceful life in the village. The villagers wondered why Tund suddenly stopped visiting the market, but no one knew the secret of that night. Amina's secret. Amina had a secret. She wasn't just an ordinary girl from the village. She was actually from the deep magical forest beyond Ibadan. In the forest, Amina lived with her family, who were not human. They had the ability to take different forms, but Amina was the only one who could look like a human all the time. Her family loved her very much, but they didn't want her to get close to humans. Her parents had always warned her, "Amina, you must not marry a human. Our world and theirs are too different." They were very protective of her. When Tund started visiting Amina, her parents got worried. They didn't want her to fall in love with him, so they decided to scare him away. The cold hand that Tund felt on his back was her family's doing. a trick to keep him away from Amina. Amina felt sad. She liked Tund and wanted to have friends in the village. She didn't want to live under her family's rules anymore. She wanted to be free to make her own choices and live among the humans. So, Amina made a big decision. She decided to cut ties with her family in the forest and stay in Ibadan. One day, she went deep into the forest to say goodbye to her family. She told them, "I love you, but I want to live my own life. I want to be free to make my own choices." Her parents were sad but understood her wish. They warned her one last time, "Be careful, Amina. The world outside can be harsh." With a heavy heart, Amina left the forest and moved to the village for good. She hoped to find happiness and maybe even love among the humans. She continued to sell her goods in the market, keeping her past a secret. The villagers only knew her as the beautiful and kind girl from the market, not knowing the magical world she came from. The curse. After leaving her family, Amina felt a mix of freedom and fear. She wanted to live her own life but knew it wouldn't be easy. To ensure she wouldn't be pulled back into her family's world, Amina decided to visit Oya's shrine. Oya was a powerful spirit known for helping those who sought a different path in life. Amina walked to the shrine and knelt before Oya's altar. She spoke with a soft but determined voice. "Great Oya, I wish to sever all connections with my family. I want to live freely in Ibadan, away from their control." Oya appeared in a soft glow and listened to Amina's request. The spirit nodded and said, "I understand your wish, Amina. I will grant you the freedom you seek. But know this, your family will not be happy. They may try to curse you to bring you back." Amina, with a brave heart, nodded. "I understand. I still want to go through with it." Oya raised a hand and granted Amina's wish. With a gentle wave, the bond between Amina and her family was cut. But true to Oya's warning, when her family realized they had lost their connection to Amina, they were furious. Her mother, in anger and sorrow, laid a curse on her. She whispered to the winds, "May you never find happiness with a human. May they always leave you in despair." Despite the curse, Amina stayed in Ibadan. She continued her life in the village, selling in the market and interacting with the people. She hoped to find love and a sense of belonging, even though a shadow of the curse hung over her. Amina was determined to live her life freely, no matter the challenges ahead. She kept her kind and gentle nature, hoping one day she would meet someone who could see past the curse and love her for who she was. A new love. One day, a well-known merchant named Bola came to Ibadan. He traveled from village to village, selling fine cloth and beautiful garments. Bola was friendly and charming, and many people liked him. When he saw Amina at the market, he was struck by her beauty and grace. "Who is this lovely girl?" he wondered. Bola approached Amina with a big smile. "Hello, I'm Bola. I travel around selling beautiful cloth. You must be Amina, the girl everyone talks about." Amina smiled back and replied, "Yes, that's me. It's nice to meet you, Bola." Bola was captivated by her gentle voice and kind eyes. He started visiting the market more often, always stopping by Amina's stall. They talked and laughed, and Bola found himself falling in love with her. He thought Amina was not only beautiful but also sweet and kind. After some time, Bola decided he wanted to marry Amina. He was excited and told her, "Amina, I like you very much. Will you marry me and come live with my family?" Amina, who had been cautious about love because of her past experiences, felt a spark of hope. She agreed to meet Bola's family. Bola was happy and took her to his village to introduce her to his parents. When they arrived, Bola's mother looked at Amina with a frown. She had heard whispers about Amina's mysterious past and the strange events around her. "This girl, she is beautiful, But there's something off about her, she thought. After talking with Amina for a while, Bola's mother shook her head. I'm sorry, Bola, but I don't trust this girl. There's a curse around her. She is not suitable for our family. Bola was shocked and saddened. He liked Amina very much, but he respected his parents' wishes. He looked at Amina with a heavy heart and said, Amina, I'm sorry. My mother doesn't approve of our marriage. I must listen to my family. Amina felt her heart break. She had hoped Bola would see past the curse, but she understood his choice. With tears in her eyes, she nodded and quietly left Bola's home. She returned to Ibadan, feeling the weight of the curse once more. Though her heart was heavy, Amina continued to live in Ibadan, still hoping that one day she would find someone who could love her despite the curse. She stayed strong and continued her daily life, always kind and gentle, even when her heart was hurting. Breaking the curse. After the heartbreak with Bola, Amina felt the weight of the curse more than ever. She was sad and tired of being pushed away because of it. Desperate for a solution, Amina decided to return to Oya's shrine. She hoped that the powerful spirit could help her find peace and lift the curse that haunted her. Amina walked to the shrine and knelt before Oya's altar once more. With a heavy heart, she pleaded, Great Oya, the curse placed upon me is causing so much pain. Please help me lift it so I can find happiness and be free from this burden. Oya appeared in a soft, glowing light. The spirit listened to Amina's plea and saw the sincerity in her eyes. Amina, you have endured much because of this curse, Oya said gently. I can lift the curse from you, but there is a condition. You must remain calm and never let anger take over your heart. If you get angry, the curse will return, and it will be even stronger. Amina nodded eagerly, her eyes full of hope. I promise, Oya, I will stay calm and keep my heart pure. Please lift the curse. With a wave of Oya's hand, a warm, gentle breeze surrounded Amina. She felt a weight lift off her shoulders. The curse was gone. Amina felt a new sense of freedom and hope. She thanked Oya with all her heart and returned to Ibadan, determined to live a good life. Back in the village, Amina continued her daily routine. She sold her goods at the market and greeted everyone with her usual kindness. The villagers admired her beauty and calm demeanor. They didn't know about the curse or the struggle she had faced, but they could see the gentle and serene person she was. Amina felt lighter, knowing the curse was gone. She remained mindful of her promise to Oya, keeping her emotions in check and staying calm in every situation. She hoped that one day she would find someone who could love her for who she was, free from the shadows of her past. And so, Amina continued to live in Ibadan, admired and respected by many, always holding on to hope for a brighter future. A true love. One warm afternoon, Amina went to the village stream to fetch water. As she sat on a rock, thinking about her life and the challenges she had faced, she felt a deep sadness. She missed having someone to share her life with. As she sat there, a gentle voice called out, Are you okay? Amina looked up and saw a kind-faced man standing by the water. He had a warm smile and gentle eyes. My name is Chaik, he said, walking closer. You looked sad, and I wanted to make sure you're all right. Amina felt a warmth from his kindness. Thank you, Chaik. I'm Amina, she replied softly. They talked for a while, and Amina found herself opening up to him. Chaik listened with care and comforted her, making her feel at ease. Over the days, Chaik and Amina met often at the stream. They would talk and laugh, and Amina felt a bond growing between them. Chaik was kind and understanding, and he didn't pry into her past. He just enjoyed her company and made her feel valued. One day, Chaik told Amina, I care about you, Amina. You are a wonderful person, and I want to be with you. Amina was surprised. She felt a mix of emotions, hope, fear, and a bit of happiness. She hesitated, remembering the curse and her past heartbreaks. But Chike's sincerity touched her heart. Amina finally said, "I like you too, Chike, but I have been through a lot. Are you sure you want to be with me?" Chike nodded with a smile. "I am sure, Amina. Let's make a life together." And so they became close. Chike treated Amina with respect and care, and she found herself growing fond of him. They spent time together, and their bond deepened. It wasn't long before Chike proposed to Amina. He wanted to make her his wife and share a happy life with her. With joy in her heart, Amina accepted his proposal. They began to plan their wedding, dreaming of a future together filled with love and happiness. For the first time in a long while, Amina felt a true sense of hope. She believed that with Chike, she could finally find the peace and love she had been searching for. The village buzzed with excitement for the upcoming wedding, and Amina felt a warm glow of happiness, hoping this would be the start of a beautiful new chapter in her life. The wedding night. The day of Amina and Chike's wedding arrived, and the village of Ibadan was filled with excitement. Everyone gathered in the village square, decorated with colorful flowers and bright banners. The villagers danced, sang, and celebrated, happy to see Amina and Chike together. The air was filled with joy and laughter as they exchanged vows under the warm sun. Amina looked radiant in her beautiful dress, and Chike couldn't stop smiling. They promised to love and cherish each other, surrounded by the cheers and blessings of the villagers. It was a perfect day, and everyone felt the love and happiness in the air. As night fell, the couple retired to their new home, ready to start their life together. But as they prepared to rest, something strange happened. Amina began to feel uneasy. Her body felt different, and a cold shiver ran down her spine. She looked at Chike with worry in her eyes. Suddenly, Amina's body started to change. Her legs fused together, her skin turned scaly, and before they knew it, she transformed into a giant python. Chike's eyes widened in shock and terror. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Amina, now a huge snake, looked at him with sad eyes. Overcome with fear, Chike screamed and ran out of the house. He stumbled through the village, shouting for help. The villagers, hearing his cries, quickly gathered around their home. They saw Chike, pale and shaken, pointing towards the house. The villagers cautiously approached, and there, slithering out of the doorway, was the giant python. They gasped and backed away, murmuring in fear and confusion. They had never seen anything like it. Some of the elders whispered, "Is this the curse we've heard about?" The joyous wedding had turned into a night of fear and confusion. The villagers didn't know what to do. They were scared of the giant snake, but also remembered the kind Amina they knew. The village square, which had been filled with laughter and music just hours before, now stood silent, with everyone watching in disbelief. The village elders decided to call for the oracle, hoping for answers and a solution to this shocking event. The oracle's judgment. The village was in a state of shock and confusion after the unexpected events of the wedding night. The elders quickly gathered and decided to call for the oracle, hoping to understand what had happened. The villagers gathered in the village square, whispering and wondering about Amina and the giant python she had become. The oracle arrived, a wise figure who had guided the village through many mysteries. The elders and the villagers stood in a circle, waiting for answers. The oracle stepped forward and asked Amina to come forward. The giant python slowly slithered into the center, and with a deep sigh, Amina spoke, her voice filled with sorrow. "I am Amina," she began. "I come from a family in the forest. I am the only one who can take human form. My parents never wanted me to marry a human because they feared it would bring trouble. They tried to scare away anyone who got close to me. But I wanted a normal life, to find love and happiness like everyone else. So, I severed ties with my family. But they cursed me, saying I would never find true happiness with a human. The villagers listened, their fear turning into sympathy. They had always known Amina as a kind and gentle person. The elders looked at the oracle, who nodded solemnly, acknowledging the truth in Amina's words. Then the oracle turned to Chaik. "Chaik, do you have anything to say?" They asked gently but firmly. Chaik, still shaken and ashamed, stepped forward. He hesitated but, under the oracle's steady gaze, finally spoke. "Yes, I have something to confess," he said, his voice trembling. "I was drawn to Amina because of her beauty and kindness, but I also had other intentions. I thought I could use her to gain wealth and power. I planned to take her money and leave her behind once I got what I wanted." A gasp went through the crowd. The villagers were shocked by Chaik's confession. They had always seen him as a kind and caring man. The elders looked at him with disappointment, and the oracle sighed deeply. "You plan to betray Amina's trust and use her for your gain," the oracle said. "This is a grave wrongdoing. Amina wanted nothing more than a normal life and love, but you saw her as a means to an end." Chaik hung his head in shame, unable to meet the eyes of the villagers. The truth had been revealed, and it was a painful revelation for everyone. The oracle and the elders now had to decide what would happen next. The final judgment. The villagers held their breath as the oracle stood in the middle of the village square, deep in thought. After a long silence, the oracle finally spoke, their voice calm but firm. Amina sought a life of peace and love, while Chaik sought to use her for his gain. In this world, actions have consequences. Chaik, you cannot escape the responsibility of your intentions and actions. The oracle turned to Chaik. "You cannot be freed from Amina," the oracle declared. "You must stay with her as your wife. This is the consequence of your deceit and the lesson you must learn. You wanted to use her, but now you will live with the person you intended to betray. This is your punishment." A murmur went through the crowd. The villagers were shocked by the oracle's decision. They had not expected such a verdict. Many felt sympathy for Amina, who had suffered so much, and they were uncertain about Chaik's fate. However, they respected the oracle's wisdom and knew that their judgment was fair and just. Chaik looked devastated. He realized the gravity of his actions and the consequences he now faced. He glanced at Amina, who was still in her python form, her eyes filled with sadness and resignation. Chaik knew he had no choice but to accept the oracle's decision. The oracle raised a hand to quiet the murmurs. This union must now stand as a reminder of the importance of honesty, respect, and true intentions. Chaik and Amina will leave Ibadan together. They must face the challenges ahead as they try to find a new path, wherever that may lead. The villagers nodded, understanding the weight of the oracle's words. They knew that Chaik's punishment was not just for his sake, but as a lesson for everyone about the consequences of deceit and the value of true love. With the oracle's verdict, the gathering came to a solemn end. The villagers began to disperse, whispering among themselves about the events of the day. Chaik and Amina, bound by fate and the oracle's decree, prepared to leave the village. It was a difficult and uncertain path ahead, but they knew they had to face it together. The village of Ibadan would remember this tale for a long time, as a story of love, betrayal, and the search for redemption. A new life in the forest. The villagers watched as Chaik and Amina departed, some with sympathy and others with curiosity. It was a somber farewell, knowing the two would face an uncertain future together. Chaik and Amina walked towards the forest where Amina's family lived. As they entered the thick woods, The air felt different, more magical and mysterious. Chike was nervous, not knowing what to expect. Amina, still in her python form, led the way. They finally reached a hidden clearing where Amina's family resided. As they arrived, Amina's family members, each with their unique forms, emerged. Some had features of animals, while others appeared more ethereal and mystical. They watched silently as Amina and Chike approached. Chike, feeling the weight of his actions, stepped forward and bowed his head. "I am sorry for my intentions," he said, his voice sincere. "I wanted to use Amina for my own gain, but I have learned my lesson. I accept the oracle's judgment and ask for your forgiveness." Amina's parents, who had been worried about her, listened carefully. They could see the regret in Chike's eyes and the seriousness in his voice. After a moment of silence, Amina's mother spoke. "We see that you are truly sorry, Chike. We forgive you, but know that living here will not be easy. You must respect our ways and care for Amina." Chike nodded gratefully. "I understand, and I will do my best," he promised. With that, Amina's family accepted him into their world. They welcomed him not as a perfect person, but as someone willing to learn and grow. Chike had to adapt to a life very different from what he knew in the village. The creatures of the forest were kind and gentle, but they had their own ways and customs. Chike worked hard to fit in, learning about the magical world and the responsibilities that came with it. Amina, now free to be herself, sometimes stayed in her human form while other times she was a python or another form entirely. Chike grew to understand and accept her in all her forms. They both found a new rhythm to their lives, far from the hustle and bustle of the village. As time passed, Chike learned to appreciate the beauty and peace of the forest. He became a part of Amina's family, helping them and sharing in their lives. He accepted his fate and made the best of his new life, finding moments of joy and peace. Amina, too, felt a sense of belonging and acceptance. She was with her family and had someone who chose to stay with her despite the challenges. Together, they found a new kind of happiness, different from what they had imagined but fulfilling in its own way. They learned that love and acceptance could come in many forms, and they embraced the life they had, finding contentment in their new home in the magical forest. Thanks for watching. Please comment your thoughts below, like and share.
Hello friends, it's your personal person, Cha. Thank you for watching and for being a part of this family. Please like and subscribe for more wisdom tales. See you in the next video.